the mindset I want people to have is I have to make space for the future. I have to have time thinking about it, pondering it, and ultimately talking to others about it, because that's the only way we're going to create it. Otherwise, it's going to be created by somebody else and it's going to happen to us. And that's not the agency I want to have over my future. I want to shape things because I've got good ideas. I can do this.
Allister, like I was saying, I'm so excited to chat with you today. For everyone listening, this is one of those episodes where I haven't met the guest yet, and those are becoming just so fun to get to know the people. So for those people who haven't met you, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, lovely to be here too. I'm looking forward to this. I am Allister Frost. I'm in the UK, and I'm an author of a book called Ready Already, which is all about how to develop a future-ready mindset. And but more importantly, probably I'm a former Microsoft leader, former marketing professional, and these days I am a professional speaker going around the world talking at conferences and events.
Oh, so good, so good. I love your book and the concept, and we're going to get into that. But first, we travel back in time. Let's go to young you. I often like to say, what was that first pound earned?
I started working at a very young age, actually. Well, I say very young. I was probably 11, 12. I mean, probably too young legally. I worked at a beach cafe. I grew up at the seaside, and in the summer there were always lots of people who came to the beach, and I spent, I think, probably 2, maybe 3 years swabbing tables. That's what they used to call it. It's wiping down the tables in the tea room. Yeah, coffee shop, collecting the trays and cups, and sort of racing around with all of that youthful energy. But then I was, because I was very good at my job, I graduated as selling ice creams. So I was on the ice cream stand, and we had queues down the block, probably because I wasn't very good at adding up. It took me a long time.
Oh gosh, that's brilliant. Okay, so you are, because then there's no just tap and go, right?
No. This is old school. We didn't even have a calculator.
We got it, because yes, I've done that. I was like, oh my goodness, yes. We used to have to do math.
Actually, I'm joking slightly. I've actually always been very good at maths. And it's incredible because, you'd have people come through, they take 10, 12, whole family, a load of ice creams, all different prices. Added up in your head, no problem at all. Took the money, gave them the change. It was all cash. It was just got on with it. And I got very good at maths because of that. How many times I added it up correctly, I've no idea.
Yeah, does the manager know when they're doing their books?
No one was checking. This is the beautiful thing.
That's brilliant. All right, so I'm always curious, and actually so many of my guests started working young. I thought I was this random person starting, but I only started when I was 14, very late now. What drove you to start working so young?
Probably my parents wanted me to get out from under their feet, let's be honest. But also because I think they were very good at instilling in me a sense of, you earn your money and you get to enjoy it. And that was something that I'm really pleased of. I mean, at the time it felt hard, but I would work the whole summer season and I'd save up all my money. And I remember, I don't know if it was my first or second year doing, I think it was my second year, I saved up enough money to buy a record player. That was for any younger listeners. That's something you don't need anymore. But I bought this record player, and my dad went to the shop and brought it home. This great big box, great big thing. So proud of that thing, and I loved it. I loved it. More, if I'd received it as a gift, it would have just been nothing. But I could, in that thing, I could see every ice cream, every table I'd cleared, every day I'd got home tired, or I had to go to work and I didn't really want to because I wanted to go and play football with my mates or whatever. Yeah, it was a lovely thing. And I think that work ethic has stayed with me ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. So 11, 12, you already got promoted into selling ice creams. That's incredible. All right. So, and is there any regret? Like, do you wish that you did have that Saturday off to go and play football with your friends? Did you miss out on friendships?
Look, there are No, there's no regrets at all because the summer was a long summer. You've got 6 weeks off of school here in the UK, and you've still got plenty of time. It's not like I was doing a 12-hour day or anything, so it's still plenty of time. So I genuinely don't regret that. It made me a better person. Gave me some balance, and I'd have been going stir crazy if I didn't have something to entertain me. So actually, I was glad of that, and even to this day, I think there's something about that of just wanting to be productive and be useful in some way, whether I'm earning money or not. But, just wanting to put my time to some use. It feels like the right thing to do rather than sitting around and, I don't know, staring out the window, watching telly or something. I'd rather be doing something that might perhaps help somebody else or make their day slightly better.
Yeah. Ice cream's a good way to do that, definitely. Okay. And do you remember any terrible customer experience? Serving people, there's always one or two that just stand out.
From those early days, I'm not sure I do. I remember I moved on from the beach cafe after a few years, and I worked in a little supermarket, and I loved that because then there were more people of my age, stacking the shelves and, looking after customer queries, working on the till. Again, typing in the numbers, none of this barcode nonsense. I really am old, aren't I? So there you did have some customers who would be really quite rude at times because the prices had gone up or something was not in stock or something was damaged or whatever. And I think that was quite eye-opening because I'd never treated people that way, but to see how others sometimes would treat me as an employee. And I think that taught me the importance of respect and, everyone's just trying to do their best. I genuinely believe that, even probably the people who aren't. But, there's no need to be nasty. The best things come when you try to be nice about stuff.
Yeah, that is so true. I think that is what everyone learns about serving people is, and maybe they're just having a really bad day, and maybe that extra few cents on that item that they really need is pushing their budget over, and so giving people the benefit of the doubt, that is such a valuable lesson.
I think it's good. If you work, I'd encourage everybody to have a stint at working in service, even if you go and work in a voluntary service or charity thing or a soup kitchen or whatever, and just sort of realise, that even if you're giving stuff out for free, there'll still be somebody who won't be happy about it, and it teaches you a degree of empathy because I often think about this when I'm driving. Everyone's in their little metal box and everybody's all self-important and so on. And somebody cuts you up or is driving badly. You can think the worst of them, or you can be empathetic and say, oh, well, I hope their day gets better. Either way, the outcome is the same, but, you feel better about yourself. You don't go through the life thinking that everyone's against you. You go through thinking, oh, well, hopefully I'm having a better day than them and, I'm lucky. Your gratitude increases.
Oh, I love that so much. It's taken me a long time. I'm from South Africa. Yeah. South African drivers are notoriously very angry and aggressive. And now I've just let that go. Now I'm in Colorado. I'm like, oh, it's okay. You can go first. Obviously, you need it. So
why not? It doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah. Okay, so stacking shelves, you're still in high school, I'm imagining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happened after that?
Well, after that, actually, I was in something called the Sea Cadets here in the UK, which is sort of like it's a youth club really for people who are, it's aligned to the Royal Navy. So if you want to go into service in the Navy, and I really wanted to join the Navy as a young person, and I was very. I loved all of the things we got to do. I went off weekends on battleships and helicopters and all sorts of stuff. The Navy would give you these access to these things, and I applied to join the Navy. Did rather well, and I had a place, but they wouldn't let me join because I wanted to go off to France to do my degree, and at the time that was sort of kind of a weird thing to do, to go overseas. You could only get a naval grant if you did a UK university, so I didn't. And then I went off to university. I studied in France for 2 years, discovered sunshine, red wine, and women, and it was everything was wonderful. And by the end of that, I decided I didn't want to be in the Navy at all. I quite liked being on terra firma. programmer, and so then I joined the conventional corporate workforce, I suppose.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So that those 2 years were quite transformative then, it seems.
The 2 years, well, I did 4 years of degree, but two of those were spent in France. And yeah, absolutely, just like every young person, the freedom, the space, the amount of growing up that you do, having to figure everything out for yourself, particularly doing it in a foreign country, in a foreign language, and studying a very hard degree at the same time. It was, it was pretty intense, but great.
Yeah. We have to learn more about France because so many people have that dream. Let me go off and travel and go to another country. I did that when I was 18. I left home, South Africa. I lived in London for 2 years. So I did not need to learn a different language, but I certainly had fun. I did not study either. So I was just working, earning money. The freedom, the flexibility that, I actually can stand on my own 2 feet. So I would love to hear from you. What were some of those big lessons learned when you did make that?
You know what? I look back on my time of going, because I was 18 years old. I'd studied French and I was okay at it. I got a reasonable grade at what we call A levels. And I really loved it. And I wanted to carry on doing French in some form. So really, you can either study French as a degree or you can do something that's in France. And I applied for a university in France, and they wrote back and said, sorry, the course is completely full. There's a new course, though, starting up at this place called Marseille. And I remember my naivety. I got out my atlas. I looked up, where's Marseille? And it's right on the south coast. It's right down the hot bit where the red wine comes from. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And so I jumped at the chance. But I look back and this was the late 80s or whatever, So there were no mobile phones. There was, I had to communicate with my parents. There was phone, but I couldn't afford to make phone calls. You sent letters and things like that. And I just went off and figured it out. And genuinely, I arrived there without, with no French money, a little bit of the language. There were other students with me, so I wasn't on my own, but we just figured it out. We figured it out. We got hold of a map and we figured out where the supermarket is, and we worked out how to get on a bus and just having to do all of that stuff, as well as learning the language and a different culture, different foods, different everything, just so formative. And if ever you get a chance, if anyone ever gets a chance to spend a little bit of time in a foreign country, not necessarily on holiday, just doing the normal touristy stuff, but actually living there and trying just to lead a normal life there, you so quickly develop so much more understanding of people and culture and just appreciation of how incredibly diverse our world is.
Oh, so well said. I'm reminiscing myself. That's so true. I've actually said to my children who are very young still, I'm forcing them, you will take a gap year because it's so formative and you feel that you can. Like you learn that you can actually be okay. All right. So
let's be honest. It's got to be, I'm not saying easier because that sort of denigrates it for other people, but it is much easier to travel and stay connected and to, have support networks around you than ever before because you've got mobile phones and technology and internet and you can chat with people, so it is easier. I genuinely think it is easier. Yeah. To some extent, maybe you lose something of the discovery experience because you can stay insulated in your world. You can continue to live a life feeling as if you're still in the same bubble of your smartphone. So if you do it, part of the challenge, I think, is to put down your phone and take in the view and talk to people and to be there, to exist in that culture, because that's when you start to get the real magic, don't you? It starts to happen.
Oh, I love that. Maybe it should be somewhere where they don't speak the language because then you just have to figure it out, right?
As long as you can speak some of the language.
I couldn't afford the phone either. I had to go. I remember going to the library and booking out phone or the internet cafe. We had to, dial up and send emails in that hour. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so you did that. You stopped dreaming of the Navy, and then you said you joined the corporate world. What did you do? What was your first job? Did you come back to the UK at that point, or did you stay?
Yeah, I came back to the UK. I was very lucky that I landed a graduate job with Kimberly-Clark. It's a fabulous, American organisation, manufacturer of soft paper products. Andrex in the UK, Kleenex, Huggies, many brands around the world. And I joined as a marketing, graduate trainee just to learn how to do marketing. I was fascinated by the world of business. Honestly, other than wanting to join the Navy for a period of time, the only other ambition I had is I thought I would like to be a businessman. And I don't know what that was. I wanted to own a briefcase or something. I don't know, have shiny shoes. I'm not really sure. But that's all I really ever wanted to do. And it never occurred to me that I have to work in an office and sort of, do writing things and presenting things. But that's what I ended up doing. And I spent 10 years at Kimberly-Clark, learning marketing from one of the best companies on earth, it has to be said. Really, really skillful, really knowledgeable. And it gave me a fantastic platform for what followed.
What did follow? And then we might go back. I have a question, but what followed?
Well, I did with my vast knowledge of paper products and the grocery industry and all of these things. I did the most logical thing I could think of and joined Microsoft to the tech sector, which is a move that to this day, I think there's got some echoes of the madness of going off to France on a bus at the age of 18 with just one bag, and going off to study for 4 years. Because going from the traditional manufacturing sector to the tech sector is a move that very few people make, because it is really, really weird and difficult. But I love the enormity of that challenge. And while I was at Kimberly-Clark, I started to see tech appearing, and it was emerging. And I was one of the very first people to probably use the internet at Kimberly-Clark, because I got hold of a modem and went under my desk and thought, I'm going to figure this out. I want to get on the internet. Long before IT would actually allow me to do it. And I was always just intrigued by the potential of tech to make me a better person. Well, not a better person, but to enable me to achieve more, to be better at stuff. So when I left KC and got headhunted into Microsoft, it was a dream come true for me. But boy, that was a big change.
Yeah. Yes, totally different industry. Did you do the same thing? Did you move into the marketing department? Yes.
Yeah, well, I'll say, look, at the time, Microsoft was sort of transitioning from taking orders to having to make orders. Let's be honest, the early days of Microsoft, people were throwing money at it because there wasn't a lot of choice. As when I joined, the competitors were starting to ramp up. There was alternatives in the market. And Microsoft was really brought in a few people like me from different sectors to help it figure out how to do marketing, to be blunt, but if I'm honest, I did spend the first couple of years trying to find something resembling a marketing department. There wasn't one really. It was a very strange matrix structure of all these different people, and marketing was just spread out. Whereas in a traditional business, marketing is a function. It has its own responsibilities, its own budget, and it's driving the strategy as much as bringing in the customers. So it was a really tough thing for me, because I had this deep marketing knowledge. I've been running Andrex toilet tissue, which is the UK's biggest grocery brand, the strongest brand icon in the country. It's a huge status role within the marketing industry. And then I arrived at Microsoft and I was just a nobody. I was another marketing guy, and trying to figure out how the heck do you make marketing work in this sort of crazy environment. And it took me a long time to work it out. I'm not sure I ever got it right, if I'm honest.
Okay, so the marketing department was you and sporadic other people. That's wild to me to think of where Microsoft is today, but to where they started, right? Which is just also such a inspirational growth story as well.
It's been professionalized beyond belief since my early days there. So now a very slick marketing operation. But back in the day, they were just figuring stuff out. There weren't a lot of checks and balances and controls, and money was being spent left, right, and centre. Some of it worked, some didn't, and that's why they brought in people like me to help go through that transition. I was pleased to play my little role.
Yes. So what did that actually teach you? I mean, and obviously not in terms of marketing, but just navigating career transitions, kind of going from feeling like you knew it all, or you were established, from what I understand, to like kind of figuring it out, starting from scratch?
Yeah, it was a very formative experience. And I do, in my talks, I sometimes refer to the contrast between those two big careers. So two big bits of my corporate career. So I spent 10 years at Kimberly-Clark, 10 years at Microsoft, give or take a day or so. And it was the contrast between those two, because Microsoft was figuring stuff out as it goes, and it was really, the leading edge of a lot of stuff, as it still is today. Whereas Kimberly-Clark was in a very established, entrenched business. It had, its established market leadership, brilliant at what it did. But the world at Kimberly-Clark was very much, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of how I was taught. And particularly when I was working on Andrex, big business, don't mess it up, keep things going, make the product, run the factories, keep everything efficient. But, fundamentally, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it was only when I got to Microsoft that Bill Gates was telling the world, today, if something works, it's obsolete. And that for me was really quite ground shaking, because I had never thought about things that way. And I realized that because tech is moving so quickly, because we're learning and developing new ways of thinking and doing it all the time, yeah, it is true. Well, it probably wasn't back then, but certainly is true today. Everything that we know, every process, every system, every tool is already out of date, really, because it can be done better. There's someone somewhere has figured out how to do it. It just might not be me. And so that really was probably the thing that shaped me the most, is this realization that not just the tech world, but every business, every sector, every person on earth is working with an outdated model of how to do things. That's not saying you have to change everything, but it does mean that you have an opportunity to improve things all the time, because it can be done better. Literally everything. So, and for people listening into this podcast, the way you are listening to this podcast could be better. It doesn't mean you have to change things, but there's probably a more advanced set of earbuds or whatever you're listening to it on. There's probably a different way of consuming the information, so you absorb more of it. There's probably a different app than the one that you've been using for however long. There's all these things. Everything can be improved. It's just a question of, should we improve that thing today or something else? But we have to improve something.
Oh, you are making my brain go tick over now. I'm thinking, how can we, because I think listening on 1.5 speed is very good. Then I can listen to more quicker and absorb it. But maybe next time it's like a chip, right, that I'm going to put in. I mean, that's coming. That's not even a sci-fi.
Yeah, it is, but it doesn't necessarily, listening to things at faster speed is a great innovation. I agree with you. I love 1.5, maybe 1.4, depends on the speaker. But yes, you could be listening as well as you could be watching the transcript on a screen if you are able to watch something at the same time. You could have AI also listening to it alongside you and creating a summary at the end. You could do all sorts of things. Now, I'm not saying, again, you don't have to do that. But just know that there is, without doubt, everything you do, every process, everything you do in your life can be done better, faster, cheaper, more efficiently, in a more exciting way. Yeah. It's just up to you whether you want to do it or not. Or do you want to stick with what you know? It's as simple as that.
Okay. Oh, gosh. Okay. So for me, I'm thinking, so if you know anything about me, all of my strengths, all of that, I'm futuristic thinking. And I'm constantly looking to optimize. I say I need to shatter the status quo in my industry. It's just not good enough. But then you're talking and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, probably everything I'm doing could be better. Now, how do you temper that? To not get stuck in, is this good enough? Is this perfect enough? Am I doing it the most effective way possible? How do you guide people through that?
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is there's no such thing as perfection. You're never going to take a process, make it better, and think that's done. Because it isn't, because it will be out of date again very soon. That's just little. And so accept that. I mean, it really is about accepting that we live in a world where change happens at an extraordinary rate. We're not always in control of that. And it's up to us to create our own lives and to, do things the way that we want to do them. And you can try, if you like, to keep things the same. You can moan about change and feel like you're a victim to it. And, oh, if only we could just carry on the way things are, which is what I hear from an awful lot of people, because they're frustrated. They're like, they've invested so much of their lives into learning a skill, doing things a certain way. And now there's a new tool, there's a new this, there's a new that. Oh, I can't keep up, and so on. The problem is, you don't really have a choice, because the world is moving, right? Even if you choose to stay the same, your customers won't, your competitors, your partners, your suppliers, the rest of the world is going to change around you. So the best thing we can do is accept that and play our part in creating the future, in creating something that's beneficial to ourselves and to others. When I say everything is obsolete, I sometimes do that to provoke people to realize that, you do need to change. But the worst thing you can do with that is say, I give up. It's too hard. I can't keep up with everything. And I'm going to go and live under a rock, because that's not a good choice either. What you need to do is accept that we are in a constant state of flux. Our world is moving, and it is really beholden to you to try to keep up, to try to evolve your life in ways that keep you relevant and useful in your life, in whatever you do for your work, your society, whatever it is. And as long as you're doing that, you're doing okay. That really is all that there is to it. You don't have to be at the leading edge. You don't have to be a world expert in things, but you do need to be able to look back, at each. I ask this question often on a Friday, at the end of the week. Ask yourself, what have I learned? What do I know now that I didn't know this time last week? And whilst that's always a very hard thing to remember, frankly, what have I learned? If you really look at it and say, well, actually, I haven't had time to learn anything new. I've just got my head down. I'm doing the same things again and again. Then I would sort of check in with yourself and say, hang on, I should have learned something in a week, surely, because the world's moving around me. So what can I do next week? How can I make time to do a little bit of thinking, to explore something new, to try and improve something? And then that's a process that quickly becomes just a way of life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. I love that. I'm going to have like a Friday check-in with myself. What did you learn? Because, I'm in learning and development, so I feel like we need to learn all the time. I'm
it's good.
I'm like, this podcast, this audio book, this, how can I absorb this stuff and incorporate it into my life? And, and when I ever get pushback on any learning and development, I'm like, how else are you going to stay cutting edge? How else, how else are we going to keep moving?
But it's a question you can.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it's a question you can ask of yourself. What have I learned this week? That's sort of just to provoke yourself to reflect on these things. But it's also a question you can ask of your colleagues to sort of see, do we have a culture of learning? Do we have a culture of growth and development? And if you get pushback on that, then sometimes that points to systemic problems with the culture of an organization, where people feel like they're more invested in keeping things the same and just doing their job and going home 9 to 5 or whatever, versus coming in and making this thing better, making this thing all that it can be. And so that's why I say it's a good question that I ask as a consultant, as a speaker, for audiences, but also it's a good thing to just use yourself to see what's the mood here. Are we up for learning, or are we really just invested in doing what we know, which is easy and familiar and safe and comfortable? That's not always the best solution.
No. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Are we sticking with the tried and true, which is only going to be a disservice very shortly, no matter where you are? So my question to you, was this something you had to learn the hard way, or is this just kind of hardwired into who you are? Or, was there any lesson or team you worked with where this was just getting pushed back and saying, no, and you did mention, let's just keep it the same. It's working, with the toilet paper brand.
Yeah.
We're good. Any lessons that you?
I think I've figured out a lot of this stuff in retrospect. I spent a lot of time, particularly through the COVID years as well, because I used to, when I left Microsoft, which is some time ago now, I was doing training. I was teaching people about digital marketing strategy, because that's what I was best known for. I'd achieved great success with Microsoft in inventing some parts of digital marketing to some extent, but also then in optimizing that off all the time. Of course, those skills have all changed and moved on since then. But particularly during COVID, obviously a lot of my work, I was going out and speaking and stuff, all of the work just vaporized because I was locked down and had to stay home. And so I spent a bit of time thinking and reflecting on most pivotal learning experiences in my career and why some things worked and why others didn't. And over a period of years, really, I tried to sort of come up with something that I eventually called a future-ready mindset, this sort of approach to life and work where you're constantly looking and you're being proactive with your learning and your exploration so that you're preparing yourself for the inevitable. And that's a really important word for me, inevitable changes and challenges of the future. And I just distilled this thing down to make it the most simple, the real essence. If you can do nothing else, do these 5 things. And I came up with a process, and I've recently written a book about it, something that I call the Ready Already growth cycle, a simple process to, if you're stuck in a rut or you just want to introduce something new to your life, just go through the 5 steps and see what comes out the other end. That's all it is.
Mm. All right. Well, that's a nice lead in to talk about your book, the process. I know I'm currently doing that myself, and it is no easy task. So I want to learn from you. Firstly, I want to say congratulations, because I now only know the work, and I think on a daily basis, what have I done? But yeah, what was your process? Or tell me all the things.
So the Ready Already growth cycle is it's basically a 5-step process. Simply because why have 6 if you can have 5? I try to keep it. I want people to just get on and live their lives. Life is short. Just don't spend your time mastering a complex process. So this is really simple. And what it is it's just a way to nudge you out of beyond your comfort zone, I suppose. To start exploring something else. So there are 5 steps. Follow, react, open, surprise, and tell, which are 5 weird words when you first hear them, but there's a reason. Follow is deciding what you should follow. And it really is as simple as this. It's making a list of all the things, literally everything in your work, your life, whatever, things that you think you need to understand a little bit better in the near future, because it might be helpful for you to understand them slightly better. And there might be anything. It might be, I need to understand AI. I need to understand how to negotiate. I need to understand time management or presentation skills. So it could be soft skills. It could be work skills. It might be some complex tax legislation if you're an accountant. It doesn't really matter. But stuff that you kind of think, right now, it feels like I probably should know what that thing is, but I don't, and I think that might be useful. So just make a list. Make a really long list. That's a really cathartic process in itself, because it gets it out of the back of your mind, and it's just, at least you've got it on a bit of paper or a screen or whatever. And then you pick the one thing that you will follow. And that's really important, because you can't do everything. And if you pick one, you've got a chance of success. If you pick 3, you're going to fail. It's as simple as that. So pick the one that's talking to you most loudly, the one that you think, if I don't do that, I'm really going to regret it. So let's start there. Great. That's your thing. I call it a thing in the book, because I couldn't find a better word for it, if I'm honest. So that's your thing. Then that's follow done. Then you go to react, and react is really simple. You learn all you can about this thing, and then choose your reaction to it. So go and learn. And really important, we've forgotten how to learn, because AI and Google and stuff like that are so brilliant. How often do you think, I want to know what that thing is? You type it into a search engine, you get one result, and you're like, that'll do. Or worse still, you ask AI and it gives you some convoluted answer that's half true, half fake. And you think, that must be it. I really want you, if something matters to your future, learn about it in a way that matters to you, but that you love. So if you love reading books, great. Go to the library, get a bookshop, get a book, read a book. Go on, treat yourself. Listen to a podcast, go to a conference, speak to experts, do something that you will really enjoy doing to learn about that thing. And then it's called react, because after you've learned, I want you to choose your reaction to it. Do you still love this thing? Do you still think, I don't want to go further? Or do you actually think, nah, it's not really me? I can't really see that working. It's not what I thought it was. I don't want to go any further. That's great. Because if you decide that there, you can stop, go back to follow, and pick another thing on for your list, right? Don't waste time. Far too often, and I've seen people stuff comes out all the time. You get some new app will come out. People go, I've got to use this new app, and they're all in on it. And then they're also using another app and another. And again, they don't get the value of anything because they're just sort of lurching from one idea to the next. Shiny object syndrome. So that's what React is. And that's the foundational steps, those two, follow and react. So now you've got your thing and you really like it and you're going to go on. And then the last 3 steps are 3 superpowers, as I call them, human things that we can do that tech cannot do for you. You can't ask a AI to do this. And they're called open, surprise, and tell. And very simplistically, they come down to more curiosity, more bold creativity, and brilliant human communication. 3 things that we can't hand off to a computer to do. So open is about having this ability to accept that your experience, your awareness of how things are, may well be the barrier to your future, maybe the enemy to your future, because it tells you all the stuff that you've learned tells you how things are. And you have a vested interest to some extent of keeping some of those things the same, right? So rather than sort of going into work or doing whatever you do and looking at it with your normal eyes, I really try to encourage people to look at it almost with a 5-year-old's eyes. Go into work and just ask loads of questions that begin with why. Why does that coffee machine not work? I don't know. Why is that person got a different desk to everyone else? Just the sort of things that a child would ask with no fear. They just ask those questions. Because sometimes when you ask those naive questions, I call it open because it opens up your mind to the possibility that something else might replace that thing, right? That actually it doesn't have to be that way. And there's an awful lot about what we do. When you start questioning it with why, you realize it doesn't make any sense anyway. Why are we doing it that way? It's completely illogical. It's just the way stuff gets done around here. Why do we send an invoice by post to every customer? We've always done that. But why? It's like, why? And the minute you say why, you don't find the solution to the alternative. It's not about finding the idea. It's just about creating that space where alternatives could be a possibility. And that's such a powerful thing. Does that make sense? That's the open step.
Yes, 100%. And I love that word because I'm like, just go in with open eyes, open mind, open heart, like just be open to the possibilities. So yes, excellent word. Yes.
Yeah. So keep open. And there's a thing that Zen Buddhists do. I used to talk about this on stage. I don't talk about it so much now, but Zen Buddhists have this thing called Shoshin. I wrote about it in the book. Shoshin, which is that they have to read the same prayer texts every day, all through their lives, but they're taught to do it with an open mind. So they'd never seen the text before. Because if you read the text and I know what's coming, I know what the next bit is, then guess what? You're just going through the motions. If, however, you approach it with a completely open mind, you learn more from the text. You see new meanings. You see hidden things. And that's how you learn all through your life as a Zen Buddhist. Now, that's a wonderful principle to bring back to the workplace and say, if I could walk into work like I've never been there before, what would I see? Everything would look different. You'd spot things. There'd be things that make sense, things that make no sense at all. And just like on your first day at work, you will again have the courage to say, why is it like that? Not to upset the apple cart, but to just genuinely, why do we do it that way?
Yeah, yeah.
Because we know it's obsolete. We've already accepted that. So what's the thing? So open your mind. If I do this on stage, open your mind and see there's so many possibilities that could enter. And then where you then fill that gap that you've created in your mind is with surprise. And that's allowing yourself to have bold, creative ideas that are probably unrealistic, they're probably beyond the realms of the budget or the permission that you'd get from the organization. It's never going to happen, but that's okay. Because if you don't start crazy and bold and imaginative, you're certainly never going to end up with anything that's different and valuable. So we're really trying to get people to have non-obvious ideas. So they exit the safety of, because what we tend to do is we have an idea and we think, oh no, that won't work. Oh, our boss would never approve that. Oh no, I'd never get that through. That's too complicated. And we kill our own ideas. Mm-hmm. And that's such a destructive thing to do because we don't give them time to grow. So the surprise step is about allowing yourself just to be playful, it's only you doing it. It's just for you. Have some ideas, just bounce them around. Even if they're ridiculous, capture them all. without the expectation that they've got to be right or fair or reasonable or whatever. And that, again, tech cannot do that. You can ask AI for random ideas and creative suggestions, but it's only matching words, pattern matching at scale. It's just taking what other people have done before and putting it together. Your human brain can do creativity far, far better if you allow it to. So that's what Surprise is all about. And the reason why those ideas don't have to be good is you've got your third superpower, which is tell, which is where we work with other human beings like us, and we tell them literally just what we've been doing, right? We say, right, I thought I really needed to understand whatever it was, your thing, negotiation skills. I really want to get my head around negotiation skills because I've never been very good at it, but I think it's going to be important for us guys in the future. So I went away and I learned all about it. Did you know negotiation comes from the Latin word for, I don't know, whatever you learned? Just share the stuff, share what you discovered.
Solve problems, something like that, maybe.
So yeah, just talk through the process. So I did follow, I did react, I learned all of this. Did you know negotiation? It only worked. Then I did open, and I asked myself, why do we only allow the salespeople to negotiate pricing? Which is a stupid. Of course, you only let the salespeople negotiate pricing. That's literally their job. But the minute you say why, you've opened your head to the possibility. Actually, could be the receptionist does the negotiation. It could be a robot. It could be an algorithm. It could be anything, couldn't it? Suddenly you realize, there are other ways of doing it, right? So I did this open. Then I had a creative idea. I thought, what if we got really good at doing this? And that's the tell process. You share that with your friends, the trusted few people in the room, but you absolutely have to tell them, I want you to help me make the ideas better. Don't tell me why they're wrong. Help me make them better. And the key words I give to people there is everybody has to respond with yes and rather than no because or no but. So they say yes, and that might need we should talk to legal about that. And yes, and I know I read about a company in Germany that does something similar. Let me get that information up. Suddenly you've got a team of people, human beings, working together to make a crazy idea into something that might be something we all get quite excited about. And then we can transition from that sort of what if to, well, let's try, let's do it and make it happen. And in that process, which might take a week or it might take 3 months, it doesn't really matter. You've gone from not knowing about something that seems important to learning a bit about it, to having some ideas, to being creative, to working with your colleagues to make it into something that could be part of the future of your organization. And it really, that's so simple. It's almost embarrassing. But it gives you a framework for doing stuff, having a go. Because far too many of us, we're overwhelmed with, I'm no good at ideas. I'm no good at this. I don't know where to. Just follow the process. I guarantee you'll get something out of the end.
Oh, love that. So, and as you're talking, I'm just thinking, all right, and I can see you're clearly very energized by this, which is very cool. And so my question to you is, in this current work environment, you said people feel overwhelmed, they're not good at ideas, or it just gets shut down, or, if you could go into the workplace and have one impact, change one thing about it, a mindset, a process, whatever it is, what would you do? What would you want it to look different, feel different? What is that change you want to see?
Well, look, the one mindset that I really want to get into people is you have to create time to be future ready. Right? It's not going to happen on its own. You can be dragged along by the future and moan about change being something that other people do to you. No, boss has come up with another idea. And you can feel like a victim. And there's all negative energy. It doesn't help you in the long run. So the simple thing that I always try to get everyone to do is to make a little time in their day to think about the future. It really is as simple as that. And I give out these notebooks when I give my talks. I've got one here, actually. This is a ready passport. Yeah. I mean, it's only a notebook, but it's made like a passport. So it's a pretty indestructible thing, quite deliberately. And I just encourage people, just say, carry this thing around for 28 days. Try it. See if you can get to 28 days without leaving home without it. And every time you've got a few moments free, you're waiting for your coffee, you're waiting for a meeting, you're on a bus, train, plane, whatever, just pull it out. Because it's with you, you will pull it out. and just sit with a pen and just think about the future. Think, what have you seen? What didn't go well? What do you think you could do better in the future? What might be different 6 months from now? What would you like? And just have that time with yourself and your future thoughts, because what's happening, as I observe it, because technology is so pervasive and so amazing, we've got these devices, smartphones, tablets, laptops, whatever, that are brilliant at getting us through each day. They make us today ready, I call it. They don't make us future ready. They're pings of notifications say, right, your next meeting starts in 5 minutes. Oh, better get there. And then there's an email. Oh, there's a notification. There's something from the bank. I need to deal with that. All this stuff, it drags you back to the present. None of it helps you to think beyond the present. It just gets you through the day, and you go to bed exhausted, and you wake up next morning and do it all again. Now, that for me is not a recipe for success. So I really try to, the mindset I want people to have is, I have to make space for the future. I have to have time thinking about it, pondering it, and ultimately talking to others about it, because that's the only way we're going to create it. Otherwise, it's going to be created by somebody else, and it's going to happen to us. And that's not the agency I want to have over my future. I want to shape things because I've got good ideas. I can do this.
Oh, that is the best advice. And I love that it's possible, because people can carry it and take that out instead of their phone, right? Like
well, I'm always realistic. People are always going to take their phone, aren't they? But if it means you spend
world.
Yeah, but if you spend one moment where you'd have gone and scrolled through your social media or played some game or gone through some app that's pointless or whatever, how much time do we all waste doing that? And instead of that, you just thought, actually, I'm going to just sit with my thoughts. I'm going to stare out the window. I'm going to just see what comes to mind. I'm going to have a look at what I wrote last time and pick up where I was. We all know that's a better way to spend your time than scrolling through whatever those app notifications are, because they'll just, you clear them, they'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
do something for you.
It feels so obvious. And I'm actually very hopeful. So there's a whole movement on Alpha Unplugged, which is my kids' generation. So they're 8 and 10. And, and even if I'm on the phone, they'll tell me, get off the phone, so now we have phone-free spaces and times and moments and all of that. And, it's driven together, but largely, they call me out on it. And they're like, well, you don't need a phone. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I'm
so hopeful for this Alpha Unplugged generation. So
I'm optimistic as well. I was very excited. We have an initiative here in the UK called Phone Free Schools, which is starting to get some traction.
Yes.
And I mean, it's because the school is literally a future-ready environment. It's literally every day you go into school, you're doing something for your future. You're not learning something that's going to make you brilliant today. It's all about building you into the person that you will become. So the destructive nature of those phones stealing our attention away from our future thinking is really damaging in a school environment. And we're only starting to understand this as we see the studies coming, because it's like most tech, it's a live experiment and we're all the guinea pigs. And so the simple notebook idea, notebook and pen, it's got to be pocket size. It's got to be convenient, that you're not going to think, oh, it's too heavy, I can't get that in my pocket or my bag. But you've got to have it with you, and just try it. And I guarantee if you try it and you stick with it for 28 days, it will just become a habit for life. And you actually will go out without a notepad and you'll think, oh, I'm missing something here. I'm not complete without my little book.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. I'm constantly pen, paper. I've got so many pieces of paper everywhere. Get it out of the brain. All right. So I'm going to ask you 2 more questions, because I know we're about running out of time, but this has been such a great conversation. So I would like to know from you, and again, in the workplace, what are we not speaking enough about when it comes to building this career that we love, that we're proud of, that we're, creating, shaping? It's not just happening to us. What are we not speaking enough about?
actually, it's a perfect segue into there's one other part of my model that I haven't spoken about quite deliberately, but because it's the fuel that will keep you going. And I think the thing that we're not talking about, we are talking about it, but I think we're talking about it the wrong way. In the middle of my 5-step process is a circle that's connected to everything else, and it's called your personal mission. And it's the heartfelt reason why you do the job you do in the service of others. That's my definition. Now, it's related to purpose. Simon Sinek's Find Your Why, all of that sort of stuff. A lot of people, talking about it. But I believe that the more of each individual person we can bring to the workforce each day, to the workplace, the better. I really want people to be themselves. And we're all at different life stages. We've all got different levels of experience. And we're all motivated and passionate about slightly different things. And in that diversity is the miracle of the possibilities that we can embrace as a collective. So I think the personal mission is something that if you want to keep going, if you want to keep up with tech, you want to be able to be useful for 5, 10, 20, 30 more years, whatever it is for you, you're going to have to be driven by something more than your paycheck or your 4 weeks holiday or whatever they give you, right? That's not enough. And that's why I talk a lot in the book about personal mission. Really connect with the miracle of your work and what you do in the service of others. The downstream consequences, if you go and do a good job, what are the downstream consequences? Not just customers, but the customers of the customers and the people who will benefit from that stuff. And when you stop and think about it, you start to realize you're much more important than just a job that you do. You're not just a cog in the machine. You're a vital part of that. And that's the fuel that you need to keep turning up at work, to do a good job as in one place, of course, but also to keep improving it, to keep having the courage to say, I think we can do this better. I've got an idea. Let's see if we can explore this together. Because that takes bravery. And you will get knockbacks and it will be tough. But if you're doing it because you believe that it's going to make somebody's life better, why wouldn't you do it? It would be remiss not to.
Oh, so good. So good. All right. Let's wrap up with the final question is going all the way back in time to young you. What would you thank yourself? And I say it in every podcast, but I think we give our young selves a hard time. Like, oh, we should have, we could have, but I think our young selves did us proud. So what would you go thank yourself for doing then?
First of all, I would actually thank my parents for making me this person, for instilling this mindset, this attitude in me, I suppose, from a very young age. But I would thank myself for always trying to do my best. And sometimes my best was not enough, didn't get me exactly what I wanted, maybe the grades at school or the instant wealth or whatever it was that I thought might be the result of doing your best. But I have always, and I continue to this day, I try to do my best on the simple basis that nobody ever did more than that. And that's good enough. Do your best every day and sleep well.
Love that. That is very good. All right, Allister, why should people contact you? Who should contact you? How can we work with you? How can we get you in our lives?
Well, the thing I love doing more than anything else is speaking, and I'm a keynote speaker. I speak at conferences, company conferences, industry events all over the world. I love a bit of travel if I can because I enjoy meeting different people and chatting and learning from their experiences of change and becoming future ready. So if anybody would love to have some help for their team or for their organization, their company, or an event that they're planning, please do get in touch. If you just want to do something for yourself, then you can get hold of my book, which is called Ready Already by Allister Frost, is in the shops now. Or you can find me online as well. You can go to readyalready.me. That's the best place if you want to ready already yourself, readyalready.me. And that'll give you a bit more about the process that we've been talking about, but also obviously the ways to get in touch. I love hearing from people. I love the stories. I learn so much every day from other people.
Oh, that is awesome. And obviously we'll have all the links in the show notes so people can grab them there. Any last words before we say goodbye?
Keep believing in yourself. I think that the future is going to be more crazy than we can imagine. Just look at what AI has done to our sense of who we are and the way that we should do work in just the last couple of years, something like that. I think it's not about tech. It's not about becoming a technologist or being a tech wizard or whatever. You need to get back to being yourself. And the more you are in tune with who you are, what you care about, and you tap into those human superpowers, as I call them, where you're really using your brain for what it's designed to do, the longer you'll be of value, I think, in the workforce and in your society, and the more lives you'll be able to benefit, to make better in some way. So just keep going. You got this. It's there for the taking. Well, I think it's a great time to be seeing the way that the world is changing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. That definitely hit home for me, so I'm sure it'll hit home for many people. Thank you so much for your time today. It was awesome getting to know you.
Thank you as well. I love chatting. Bye-bye.